Alright guys, welcome back. Tonight we're going to be checking out a really cool product that I've been playing around with for the last few months. I think you guys are really going to like it. Now if you're new to the channel, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button down below. We have a ton of awesome projects coming out in 2018. So when it comes to handgun sights, there are a few categories that we're going to think about. We have our factory sights, which these are just basic 3 dots, no fiber optic, no tritium, nothing fancy. We have our fiber optic sights. We have our tritium sights, and then we get into the red dot sights. Now personally, I've really been liking the red dot sights on a handgun, but there are a lot of cons to this as well. Cost being one of the main factors that keep people from buying one of these. You might have to modify your slide, then you're going to have to buy an RMR, or even a cheaper version of an RMR, which is still going to be pretty pricey. Most aftermarket sights like Trijicon HDs, you can pick these up for around 130 bucks, so it's really not too bad. But what if I were to tell you that there is a sight out there that combines all of these into one? Now the sight that I'm talking about is the Meprolight FT Bullseye. Now this thing just looks absolutely crazy on a handgun. When I first saw pictures of it, I really wasn't sure what to think. But now that I've had time to play around with it, go to the range, I ran about 500 rounds through this setup, and guys, I am honestly liking it. I think this is a great option for those guys that don't want to get their slide cut for an RMR, don't want to have to go spend, $300 or $400 or even more on a red dot sight for their handgun. There's a lot of advantages to the red dot sight route. This thing is a pretty cool option. It's definitely worth taking a look at. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Meprolight FT Bullseye. So the first time I laid eyes on the Meprolight FT Bullseye, I kind of just thought to myself, what the hell is that thing? Is this just some sort of gimmick? I really wasn't sure what to think about it, but to be honest guys, after I've shot it a little bit, after I've spent some time with it, I am happy that I've given it a chance. Now the FT Bullseye has a lot of pros, and it also has a few cons, which we'll get into here in a few, but some of the best things about this sight are its construction. Now this thing is made of metal. It is a very, very durable sight. It does have a decent lip up there. You guys can obviously see how close to the slide this thing rides. So it is thin, but it does have enough of a lip where if you want to rack this off of your boot or a belt or a table, whatever it may be, you can still do that. Now you guys do see the big window up top, and that is where our fiber optic is sitting. This sight is powered by a fiber optic, and it also has a tritium vial, so that reticle at nighttime kicks down a little bit. It's not nearly as bright, which is nice, but in the daytime when you're out at the range, it makes it very, very bright and easy to pick up on that reticle. Now I will roll in some footage of the reticle out at the range. I don't know how well we're going to be able to pick up on the reticle right now with the lighting and whatnot. I will go ahead and try though. So that gives you guys an idea of the reticle, and like I said, I will roll in some footage out at the range so you guys can see how this thing looks in actual daylight. Besides the actual construction, let's talk about the size of this thing. So with the FT Bullseye, it is very, very thin, very close to the slide, and from what I know, which this is sitting on a Polymer 80 right now, I do not have any Polymer 80 holsters, but I did throw it on one of my Glock slides and I didn't have issues with any of my holsters. Now I have seen another guy on a video talk about him having to sand a little bit on one of his holsters. I'm not sure where he would have to sand. I'm not sure why the holster channel would be, pushed down and then bump up. I don't know. But I haven't had any issues out of any of my holster setups. Another thing you guys may have noticed with this setup is I'm not running a front sight. Now some of you guys may have noticed this already and been like, what the heck is going on there? Well, with the FT Bullseye, you do not have to run a front sight. That illuminated reticle is all you need. Honestly, when the front sight is on there, and I have ran it with the front sight, it's more or less just kind of in the way. Now, most of us are traditionally used to picking up that front sight. That is what you do when shooting a handgun. You pick up that front sight, align it with your rear, however your rear is set up, and you shoot. So it does take some getting used to focusing on the reticle here in the back versus the front. Now don't think since you run an RMR that you're going to pick up the FT Bullseye or vice versa and run it like a champ the first time. They both have a learning curve, they take some getting used to, and there are advantages to both platforms. When you buy the Meprolight FT Bullseye, you are going to get it in this package right here, and it is also going to include this little tool. Now it is nice they included the tool so you don't have to use one of your own or go buy one if you don't have one. But right on top we're going to have 2 screws. We're going to have a hex head there and a hex head there. And with the included tool, we're going to go ahead and loosen those up just a little bit. And then our sight is going to slide off. Now I need to loosen it just a hair more. But it is nice being able to adjust this sight or put it on another gun, take it off, whatever you're going to do with it, with a basic tool. Now you don't have to use their tool included. I'm not sure what size that is, hex bit, but I'm sure most of us have them laying around. It's just nice not having to bust out, you know, your sight pusher and go through all the trouble of that. And if you guys have changed a lot of sights out there, which I have a pair of Trijicon HDs, I've put on multiple builds, and they start to get loose over time, which really sucks. Well, with this mounting system here, it is all metal. I really don't think you're gonna have any issues with it because the sight loosens as you loosen the screws, making it fit very loosely in the dovetail. So I'm not gonna line it up exactly where I need it right now. I'm just gonna throw it back on the gun. But you basically tighten down your 2 screws, and I haven't had an issue as far as Loctite or anything like that. But you basically tighten your screws down and it is good to go. Now another thing that I was kind of concerned about myself was how is this sight going to perform at distance? And no, I'm not talking about 100 yards, but I am talking about, you know, within 50 yards, how is this sight going to perform? Well, I'll roll in some footage. I had this thing out right around 50 yards and I was hitting most of the time. Now, I'm not a professional shooter, I've never claimed to be, but I was hitting a 10-inch gong with relative ease at about 50 yards. Now, just because this sight can do it, it's capable of it, I don't think it's quite up to par with, say, some Trijicon HDs at distance, but it can do it if you wanted to do it. I think this sight really shines in the combat category, up close and personal, within, you know, anywhere within 20 yards, I'd say this sight really shines. Now, if you guys are interested in checking one of these out, I will leave a link down below for Optics Planet, as well as a discount code to save a little bit of money on your next order. This sight does have a 12-year warranty on its tritium. So if that tritium starts to die down anywhere within 12 years, Meprolight will replace the sight. Now, there are a few different variations of this sight also, which are right here on the front of this. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to pick up too well, but we have the green version, there's also a red version, and then there's also a standard sight as far as I can tell with our 2 dots in the rear. I don't think it's an illuminated reticle like this sight, but it is something worth checking out, guys. For 150 bucks, I really don't think you can go wrong compared to dropping, you know, at least $300 on an RMR, and that's if you find a really good deal, plus having your slide milled, you know, another 200 or 300 bucks. Then Cerakote. So I mean, you could be in this at the least, on the low end, 500 bucks, and that is the absolute low end to get in on a Trijicon RMR. Now, there are other options out there if you want to go with like a Vortex or a Burris Fast Fire, which are still good options, but you're still gonna have to spend at least double or triple what this sight's gonna cost you. So is it worth looking at? In my opinion, it definitely is worth looking at. And like I said, I'll leave a link below if you guys are interested in at least checking it out. I do think it's worth your time. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Please let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this sight, or if you've had some personal experiences with it. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate all your support. Please like, share, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one.